Remember, if you ever find yourself traversing a dreamscape, be wary of those you meet. While some dream dwellers may have good intentions, others may be malevolent, nightmares taking the form of a dream. Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Cosy Reads. I hope you've all been keeping well. Here we are again for another episode of The Lovers. After having met the dream dwellers, the man will now be posed with the beginning of his quest. In order to free his girlfriend, the man will have to fully learn how to traverse the dreamscape, gaining help and guidance from those around him, while learning who and who not to trust. This way. It's a better place to speak than here, Ranrok explained as he guided the group through the forest to a nice cabin that had been tucked away by the trees and foliage. As they all entered the cabin, Ranrok couldn't help but explain that the cabin was theirs, but it was not their main home. He made sure to emphasize that their main home was a lavish palace, bigger than any place you could imagine, with servants and animals and pillars and water features. It was quite obvious that Ranrok liked to brag and show off, but to be courteous, the man feigned interest, oohing and ahhing at the things Ranrok said. "Okay dear, that's enough now," said Calliope. "I'm sure the others wouldn't want to keep hearing you brag," said the other. "Or maybe the man and the imp are enjoying hearing about our wealth," the last said. "Alright, fine. I guess I went on a bit too much," Ranrok responded before taking a seat on an extremely comfortable chair. The man was so intrigued by what he was seeing. Ranrok was a sight. It seemed like his one half truly burned with fire, while his other half felt like a cool stream streaking across. He had never seen anything like it. And Calliope was just as, if not more, intriguing. He just couldn't wrap his head around the three separate entities thing. From the way they spoke, it was clear they were connected in some way. They could easily finish each other's sentences just as if only one person had been speaking. But everyone seemed to hit a different need. One seemed to speak more matter of fact. She was the one who seemed the easier to understand. The other spoke more in negatives, always saying the more cynical or least favourable things. And the last spoke in positives and agreeability. She seemed chirpier and more optimistic, saying things that seemed to look more on the brighter side. "Has anyone ever told you have a nice cab in?" the imp said. "And here I thought we were getting into a cab. This is by far a better outcome," the imp added. Yes, our cabin is quaint, but it means we get to live in relative peace and enjoyment here. And sometimes you need a break from the decadence and affluence of home," Ranrok responded. "He really can't help himself, Kenny," the man thought to himself. Yes, quite. But sadly, we do not have time to extrapolate on the humility of cabin living. We have a situation. This man was brought into the dreamscape by some unknown means. We need to find out what those means were, and also find out the man who watches over the dreams. Oh, and he also wants to free his girlfriend from the dreamscape and wake her from her coma. So we have a lot to get through and we could really use your help," the imp explained. "Humility isn't a word, imp," Ranrok responded, causing the imp to become irate. But before he could say anything, Ranrok held up his hand. "Apologies. Now, hun, if you will." Ranrok then motioned to his wife, with all three beings of Calliope then walking forward, each holding a different item. "We thank you for coming, traveller from the waking world. We foresaw your arrival, and we have had glimpses of your future and your journey." Each one spoke in perfect unison. It was the first time the man had seen each one speak. He glanced at the imp, who seemed equally dumbfounded and entranced. The man guessed the imp had never seen Calliope talk in unison either. "You have a perilous journey ahead of you, but we will not keep you for too long. Further into the dreamscape, there is a grove, and in that grove, there is a lake. It is known as the Lake of Access. It gives all those who seek it out their deepest desires, whether you know what those desires are or not. It is also a gateway, a place used by those who can travel between the waking and dreamscape. Our shadowy man used it to reach here. We cannot see him, nor have we been able to track him past entering our realm, and so we advise caution. I believe seeking out the lake will grant what you need, but the journey will be wrought with danger, and we can almost guarantee you will run into the shadowy man again." As Calliope spoke these last words, she then walked over, unveiling the items that she was carrying. The first Calliope had a map that was different to the maps we see, as it changed and shifted on each viewing. Every time you took your eyes off the map and then placed your eyes back on it, the map would change. Sometimes subtle changes, sometimes drastic, but it never looked the same as a previous incarnation. This map is known as the Map of Truth. It changes depending on the dreamscape, so that you always have an accurate representation of where you are. I do not know whether this map changed based on the dreamscape, or the dreamscape changes based on the map. The first to speak and give a gift was the more straightforward of the trio. Even her gift was practical. The second to speak and give gift was the more cynical of the group. Take this also. It is a ring of escape. You put it on and it can get you out of danger. It takes time to recharge. I don't know how long, but it can interact with the lake of access, allowing you to leave the dreamscape and return home. It is one-time use in this regard, and can only transfer one person. So if you give up on your journey, you can leave. Or just know that if you do manage to find whom you seek, only one of you can leave. The dreamscape has a habit of wanting to keep its toys. Be careful that you do not become a collector's item. As the second spoke, the man could hear all the energy and life drain from them, almost as if they didn't like speaking. It seemed like they sucked all the joy and positivity from the room. Also, why would she give him a gift to leave without his girlfriend? What choice would he have to make? And my gift is last, but by no means the worst. I have a simple gift, a stick of bonking. It is a stick that can transform into whatever weapon you need at the time. You cannot choose what the weapon is. The stick knows, and the stick chooses. So at least if you end up in a situation where you must fight, you have your weapon. The third said in a happy and cheery voice. She gave a warm smile that seemed to refill the room with light and love. "Thank you," the man said before walking over to accept his gifts. And that brings chapter 5 of this story to an end. I hope you've all enjoyed this story and are enjoying this series. With the man now receiving his next destination, the tools to get there, and a premonition of conflicts to come, how do you think the man will fare in his journey? Do you think the man has what it takes to take on the dreamscape and come out the other end? Only time will tell, so let's find out in future episodes of The Lovers. And with that, I hope you have all sufficiently warmed up and that this story has brought you some level of comfort. I wish you safe travels on the journey of life, and feel free to come back again whenever you need a new story to warm your day.